Hello, this is Kent Delling with Fertilizer Dealer Supply, and I'm with Woody, the manager at the Ohio location. And we're going to continue now with an SCS450 programming. Woody, we've already put the numbers in on the pre-calibration, so prior to the actually in the boom cal. So we're going to start on the left-hand side and start talking about boom cal. Woody, take it away.
Sure, so you're going to see the first three buttons are what we're going to be working with. And to access that when you're on the cal screen, we're going to come over and we're going to depress the boom cal. You're going to see that the boom cal light will be lit up the entire time that we're working on it. If we would hit the wrong button, you'll see that the light stays lit up underneath that one. So always make sure when you're working on boom cal that that light is lit up through the process. You're going to see on the screen it's telling us that the boom cal for the first section is up, and we got to do a little bit of calculations before we start here. So today we're going to be assuming we're working on a liquid applicator in the field. That's the valve type we put in when we did the initial setup, and we're going to be working on a 12-row applicator that is following a 12-row planter. Two versions of that you're going to find in the industry is a 11-row or a 13-row. 11-row, we're going to be using a rate and a half on the outside to cover the 12-row width. On a 13-row, we would be using a half rate on the outside and coming down that row twice. So we need to understand how our applicator is sectioned out. So if we're going to assume that it's equally sectioned, so the center section is the same width as the outside two wings, we would take 12 rows times 30, so it gets 360, and then we divide it by 3. It's 120. Now a lot of people saying, well, you got 11 row, why are you doing that? We got to remember that we're 1.5 rating the outside, so that half rate gets counted twice to be our 12th row.
And Woody, the thing you'd have to do is size your orifices.
Correct.
Or your nozzles, whatever it is, correctly, so that that flow finds its way to that section.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The same way on a 13 row, we're half rating the outside, so that makes the 12th row instead of calculating it by 13. And again, Kent, there we're going to be using an orifice that's half the size to get us down to a half rate. So once we know that we did that, we divided it out, we know we want 120 in there, we're going to come over and we're going to press the enter button. The enter button is going to indicate an E on this side, and now we are ready to go ahead and start typing in our numbers. So we went 1, 2, 0. Always make sure in a 450 that there's not a decimal place anywhere. If you find a decimal place, and this will happen when we go on, that you're going to have to use extra zeros. In the boom cal area, we do not. So we're okay there. We got it entered the way we want it. We're going to hit the enter button. And now the enter button's not lit up, so we know we're good to go on. So we do that because this is still lit up. We're going to arrow up. This will be the center section of our applicator. Again, we're going to use the enter button. We're going to enter in inches what that is. That's where the 120 comes in. And once it's entered, it's an enter button again. For our last boom section, arrow up. Boom 3 comes up, enter, 120, enter, and the enter button. Now, if we would have had all 5 sections or 6 sections up here, this is where we just keep toggling through and adding the widths. Now, because we're only 3, we only have to program 3, but we do have to verify that the other ones are 0. Because if for some reason somebody's been in there and messed with your console and put in a width there, it is going to try to calculate that.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in time, we would have our 3 done at 120 and be ready to move on to the next section.
Alrighty. Woody, thanks. We'll do another video to program the rest of the console.